So we have tonight a very strange kind of topic that I chose. And some people might take some type of issue with it. Is it possible that the holy holiday of Chanukah can weaken someone's belief in Judaism? Well, usually we talk about Chanukah strengthens our belief in Judaism. Can it weaken somebody's? So what do I mean by that? Okay, so I start off over here with a story. This true story brought in the Sefer Chavos Halvavos, our good friend Chavos Halvavos. The duties of the heart. We've quoted him many times. He lived over 1,000 years ago. Oh, so it's a great sefer, right? Very special. Rabbi Chaim Mintz Hasfardi, one of the most outstanding classical books written in Judaism, Chavos Halvavos, the duties of the heart. And he brings there a story, the following. Number one, there was a very pious person who went for a business trip to a far-off country. And he met over there one of the people of the living in the country that he went to. They got into conversation. And he asked him, number two, what is your belief? What is your religion? Which God do you believe in? He asked this pious man. So the man answered, the pious man answered, my belief is in the God who created the heavens and the earth, created the whole universe, and he watches everything that happens to everybody, takes care of them, and everything is under his control. That's the God I believe in. Of course, the person hearing him didn't have the same God, naturally. He believed in, who knows, idols or whatever they believed in. But he told him, my God is the God who created the world, created you and me and everybody, and he's in control. So the man told him, I don't understand you. Your actions contradict your words. He said, what do you mean? He said, if you believe in a God who created you and takes care of everything and is all over and knows what's going on and everybody's under his jurisdiction, why do you have to come to such a far-off country to make a business and get a livelihood? Why can't you just stay home and he'll take care of you over there? If you believe in that God, so he can take care of you over there. What if you have to come all the way over here for? So your actions contradict your words. Here you're telling me you believe in a God who created the world, can do what he wants, everything is under his jurisdiction, under his power, he can give whatever he wants. So if you want to get your livelihood, your parnasa, why do you have to schlep all the way over here, 1,000 miles away from your hometown? Why can't you just stay home and God will take care of over there? So the fact you came here, your actions contradict your words. You're saying he can do everything, so let him do everything. Why do you have to schlep over here for? Well, guess what? The man heard what he said. It hit him like a ton of bricks. He went to his hotel, packed up his bags, and went home right away. This plain, simple person who served idols, didn't believe in Hashem, but he asked him a simple, plain question that hit him between the eyes. Your actions contradict your words. If you believe in such a God, so stay home, he'll take care of you over there. Perhaps you stop over here. Of course, this is a very big lesson for all of us in many different facets of our life, especially when it comes to parnasa. We might ask those people that were traveling to Hong Kong for business, or they're traveling around the world, we could ask them this question. Maybe they'll have an answer, I don't know, but it's a good question. Why do you have to go to Hong Kong for? And they have to go to all these different places over the world if you can get your parnasa right over here. So, what am I bringing the story for? Hi. My point is, People seeing the Chanukah menorah in the Jewish window. There might be non-Jews, there might be Jewish people that are shaky believers in Judaism, and they see the menorah. So what is the menorah for? Well, the menorah is for that God made miracles for the Jewish people, and they had this great war against the Greeks, Syrians. They're outnumbered with ridiculous odds, out-weaponed with ridiculous weapons. They were not even warriors. They were simple, plain people who were very pious people, and there was just a few of them. And look what happened. And God made a miracle for them. And they were victorious over so many hundreds of thousands of soldiers against them. Not only that, but God made a miracle that the menorah, instead of lasting for 1 day, lasted 8 days. That's why we light the menorah. Right? We'll tell a person. They'll come back and say to us, your actions contradict your words. You're saying your God can make miracles. He can do what he wants. And he took care of you against such odds and made such miracles for you. How come you're in New York? You should be in the Holy Land of Israel. What happened? How come the Jews are all over the world? That's not our land. We don't belong here in New York. We belong in Eretz Israel, Yerushalayim, Bnei Brak, the north to the south. That's where Jews belong. That's our land. That's where the Beit HaMikdash is supposed to be. What are you doing over here? Because he sent you to Galos. What happened? God sent you away from the land. I thought he can do anything he wants. If you're his people, you're the chosen people. So then, he must not have any power to do what he wants. Because you're his people, and he loves you. He called his children, God's children, and you're so beloved to him. What in the world are you doing here in New York or any other place in the world besides the Holy Land? So therefore, there's a fallacy in what you're saying. Because if God is so powerful and do what he wants, what in the world are you doing over here? Either way, non-Jewish people ask the question all the time. We said in Hallel today, why should the nations of the world say, where's the God? Right? You see here that all the time. That's what the Germans said, Yamach Shemam. The Nazis said, where's your God? Bang. Shot them, killed them, hurt them, whatever. Hit them. Where's your God? If you're the Jews, you're chosen people, where is he? Or even Jewish people who are not learned, not committed, they have the same question. Where is he? Went to the Holocaust. Look at the Holocaust. Where's God? God is saying he made this miracle of Chanukah. He can do what he wants. He makes miracles. So where is he? Therefore, they say we don't want to get involved because it doesn't make any sense. Your actions are contradicting what you're standing for. You stand for the menorah that we light in every Jewish home. We light a menorah and saying that God's a kol yachol. He can do everything. And look what happens. Look what happened. So the same question that this non-Jewish person had to this pious man, and he packed his bags and went home right away, the same question will be people looking at the menorah and seeing all the different miracles it represents, and they have big questions. So what are we doing in Galos then? If God is so powerful, he do what he wants, why are we in Galos? It looks like he couldn't help it, can't help you. Either he can't do it, he's not powerful like you said, the Romans were more powerful than he was, he drove them out of the land, or you're not his chosen people, but it's not what you're saying, because it doesn't jive. Well, this is why I chose this title. Is it possible for Chanukah to make, what was the exact words? Is it possible that the Holy Chanukah can weaken someone's belief in Judaism? And it could. It could. Because a person could have this big question. So, of course, we as knowledgeable, God-fearing Jews, we know the answer to the question. But let's look into it a little bit further. Here I want to bring out a kapitel, a chapter in Tehillim, the Psalms of David, the wonderful collection of prayers that King David put together, 150 different prayers, different chapters that he put it to Tehillim. And so interesting, different things that are brought out. Here in number 44, I wish I had the time to go through the whole 44 psukim, all the passages. Have a long one. It's impossible tonight to go through it. It's a very, very intimate conversation between the Jews and God. Very strong words, back and forth between God and the Jews. Pertaining exactly to what we're talking about. And I took just a few phrases here on the glossary sheet, took out from this kapitel from Tehillim. Lamatzach levnei Korach maskil. Imagine that the children of Korach are the ones who put together this particular psalm of Tehillim that King David put together with his. He said many of the psalms, and he put together other people's. The children of Korach was swallowed up in the earth. If you remember what happened to him, he was making a whole different argument and machlokes against Moshe Rabbeinu. He was swallowed up. His children did tshuva, children of Rik Tzadikim, and then they made up this following: Elokim, Bozneinu Shomanu. With our own ears we heard, Avusen Siprulanu, that we have in number 5. Our forefathers told us, Poel Po'alta V'Meim, all the great deeds that you did for them in days gone by. And it goes on with the great explanation how God was with the Jewish people all the time. You chased out the nations from the land of Israel, and you brought us to that land. And not with the sword did they get it, not with their power did they get it. Only your hand and your arm, you gave it to them. They were not strong enough. The Jewish people coming from the Midbar, from the desert, they were not strong enough to fight against the enemies in the land of Israel. You were the one that did it for them. You were a king. So you will be able to overcome all of our enemies. I'll not rely on my bow and arrow. I will not rely on my sword. Who will I rely on? On Hashem, on God. Goes on. And all of a sudden, and now all of a sudden you have left us and embarrassed us. And you do not go out anymore to fight our battles anymore. We have to retreat and go backwards. And our enemies are robbing us. You made us, I put over here, you made us like sheep that are being eaten up. And you spread us around all the nations, all the four corners of the world. Such a change in what was then. And now things are terrible. The situation, you're against us. It goes on and on. You made us an embarrassment for our neighbors. They're making fun of us. All the goyim, you would want to talk about a nation that's lost, that's losers. They tell us the Jews, yeah, look at them. They're the ones the losers. They don't have any power. All shaking their heads. Nah, the Jews, no. All day they're embarrassing us. On and on. And still, Kol Zeus, all this came to us, V'lo shechachnucha. Put down over here. Number 7. But we still did not forget you. We were going through all these sorrows for so many years, and we still did not forget you. And we did not go against and break the covenant that we have with you. We have so much sorrows, but we're still holding on. I'm just choosing out some of the phrases over here. And we have an interesting expression over here. Oorah, lama sishan. Oorah. This is what the pasuk that we've based the name of our organization on, this pasuk. Oorah, God, wake up. Why are you sleeping? Hashem. Wake up and don't forsake us forever. Strong words. God, wake up. Why are you sleeping? It looks like you're sleeping. All the nations of the world are killing us and spreading around in all the corners of the earth and painting us, and with all the inquisitions and the pogroms and the Holocaust. Wake up. Why are you sleeping? Why are you hiding your face from us? You're forgetting our pain, what we're going through. It goes on. Get up and help us and redeem us. So we have the three parts to this Mizmor of Tehillim. The good times that were years ago, the bad times that followed, and the Jewish people complaining to Hashem, we have not forgotten you. Whatever we go through, you're our God, we're close to you, and we don't want to leave you. But why not have Rachmanis in us? Help us. Wake up. Oorah, wake up. Of course, we called our organization Oorah, means wake up, not only Jews to wake up. We want Hashem to wake up, Jews have to wake up. If Jews will wake up, God will wake up. It's just an expression, naturally. God's not sleeping. It's just an expression of, he seems to be sleeping. He's not helping us. We say, wake up, but don't sleep. Why are you sleeping? So this is really what we're talking about now. We're in Galos, and God, we believe that he could take us out of Galos if he wants to. He is all-powerful, but for some reason, we're here and we're suffering. Things going around the world now, what's going on over there, Baruch Hashem, so far we're not suffering in this country, but people are afraid of hearing what's going on all over. And so what's the story? So why is God doing this to us? And we have number 8, right? Oorah, wake up, why are you sleeping? Now, we have in the next quote, a quote from the Chumash itself, from the 5 books, a quote from the 5th book of Moses, Deuteronomy, Devarim. And there, God says, after he warns us if we don't keep the laws of the Torah, chas v'sholom, there's going to be a Holocaust. Warns us from before. People don't realize that. How could the Holocaust? They don't realize the Torah tells us about the Holocaust. In a few places. If you don't listen to the word of God, the Jewish people don't live up to the standard that God wants us to live up to, he's going to bring a Holocaust. It goes on and on and on and on. Terrible, terrible things will happen to the Jewish people. Everything things in the war that we hear about, all the horrifying things that happened to the Jewish people in the concentration camps over the generations. God warned us. And he says afterwards, and after, in number 9, Yavo Alecha, all these horrible things, the punishments are going to come upon you, Ba'klala, and all of the punishment, number 10, and then you'll do tshuva. You'll do tshuva in the nations, in the countries that you're scattered around. There'll be a time when you start realizing what's going on, what the problem is, why God did this to us, and you'll do tshuva. And then, and number 11, he'll gather you in from all the nations that he spread you out, and all the tzaras that you went through, all the different problems, and terrible things that happened. Hashem will make things back again to where they were before. You'll do tshuva. The Jews do tshuva. Shavta Hashem Elokecha. Of course, I'm just bringing just excerpts over there. It's a much more lengthy. If you want to take a look in Parshas Nitzavim, Parshas Nitzavim, that's the 4th to last parsha in the Torah. discussing at length the tshuva that the Jewish people are going to do. They'll realize and they'll tshuva, come back to Hashem. Tshuva means to return. So that's the answer. The answer, God was so good to us, and all of a sudden it turned around and things bad happened to us because we are responsible. Because the Jewish people did not live up to the standard that God wants them to live up to. And that's a high standard. It's not easy. They're great people, and God expects from us great actions and great personal actions and character traits and ideas and relationships. He wants us to be in a high, high position. And if we don't practice this high expectation from God, he says, you're my people. I expect more from you. And therefore, they have punishment. So Hashem's, Lama teacher, why are you sleeping? Wake up. And God tells us, you wake up. You're sleeping. Because you're not living up to the standard that I demand from you. And therefore, you have to suffer the consequences. And that's the answer. Now, how does that fit into the Menorah? The Menorah, we have to realize something very special about the Menorah, which I bring that very in short form over here. But listen to this, it's a very, very important idea I'm saying now. When God told the Jewish people in the desert to build a Mishkan, to build a tabernacle, to build a holy temple, they were in the desert, 40 years in the desert. They had a portable Beis HaMikdash. When they came to the land of Israel, King Solomon built a permanent Beis HaMikdash, a big one. But in the Midbar, that is a collapsible one. They took it down as they traveled, took it down, set it up. They traveled so many different places, 42 places that they went one place. They wandered around in the Midbar, in the desert for all that time. And that temple was that Mishkan. That's where they had sacrifices, and that's where they lit the Menorah, just like lit the Menorah in the Beis HaMikdash when they came to the land of Israel. They lit the Menorah in the Mishkan, in that portable Beis HaMikdash in the Midbar. And in order to set up the Mishkan, initially, every one of the 12 Shvatim, every 12 branches of the Jewish people, Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, read it now in our every day we read the Torah now in Chanukah. They brought sacrifices in that holy temple. Every Nasi. Reuven, the first one was Yehuda, then Yisachar, Zevulun, Tev was Zevulun. We read each one of the Shvatim. The head of the Shevet, the Nasi, brought a special carbon to inaugurate the Mishkan, just to get it started off. And after that, they went to regular service every day. The inauguration of the Mishkan was each of the great leaders of each Shevet brought a special carbon, a special sacrifice to Hashem. Aaron HaKohen, Aaron the priest, was upset. And he said, look at that. They all have the great honor and privilege to inaugurate the Beis HaMikdash, and I don't have anything to do. For me, I'm not doing anything. He was very upset. He wanted to have a part of the mitzvah himself. They're having a great opportunity to get the Mishkan started off, and he says, I can't do anything for him. So God told Moses, tell Aaron, Moshe, tell him he has something greater than they have. He shouldn't feel bad. Something greater than the Sim who brought those korbanos. Because he's going to light the menorah. So therefore, what he's going to do is be greater than them. And everybody asks, so why is that greater? What's so great about that? I mean, it's a great thing, but why is it greater than what they did? They brought sacrifice, so he has to light the menorah. And the answer is, the Ramban, famous Ramban, who brings one of the great Meforshim commentators of the Torah, tells us, the great thing was, he told Aaron HaKohen, because the menorah represents not only when the Beis HaMikdash is standing, but when the Beis HaMikdash will not be standing anymore. The Jews will still light the menorah of Chanukah. That will last forever. The Beis Hamikdash, when they're bringing the sacrifices to the Beis Hamikdash, inaugurating it, it's going to be destroyed someday. So they had participated in something that's not lasting, won't be lasting. But you are going to light the menorah, and that menorah is going to last forever. Even the Jews will be exiled, and they'll go into Galos, and they won't be in that land anymore. They won't have the Beis Hamikdash anymore. They won't have the Holy Temple anymore. But they'll have the mitzvah of Chanukah. They'll light that menorah. And you have that great, so you're greater than they are. You have a bigger mitzvah than they have. Because you're involved in the thing that is forever. And by them, it's not forever. It's only temporary, as long as Beis Hamikdash is standing. And this is what we are talking about. When we said, see that menorah, why? Why is that something that God kept of all things, that menorah going, more than any other of the things? There are a lot of things in the Mishkan. Why that menorah? Because the menorah is light. It represents light, represents the Torah. Torah is light. Torah is light to the world. Before Torah was given, people were animals. They were not civilized in what was going on in the world. Until God gave the Torah, that's people, the whole world changed. God gave decency to the world. He gave the Torah to the Jewish people and the 7 mitzvahs, Menorah laws. And that's what we have to look at. Not to get weakened by looking at that menorah, but strengthened by that menorah. That's what kept us going all the years in our Galos. What was keeping us going? The study of the Torah. We have nothing else. The Holy Temple is not here. The land of Israel is not here. We're all around the world. Jews not together. The sacrifices are not here. All the great mitzvahs of going to 3 times a year to Yerushalayim is not here. The only thing that we've left is the Torah. And that's what kept us going all the years. That's what kept us as Jews. All other nations of the world that were conquered, they're finished, they're gone. All the great powers, with the Greeks, with the Romans, with the Babylonians, with the whoever, they're all gone because they didn't have the Torah. The Torah is what kept us the whole time. We have to look at that light and say, that's our Torah. That's what kept the light of the menorah. When the Kohen lit the menorah and the Beis Hamikdash, when we light the menorah now in our houses, we are talking about Torah, the light of the Torah. We have to look at it and say, it's true. God got angry at us, and He sent us out of our land. He's all-powerful, and He'll bring us back again. But tshuva, we have to do tshuva, and look at that menorah, and realize that we have to become better. We have to wake up and study Torah and keep the laws of the Torah, and that's what gives us the stamina and the will to go on. Some people look at the mirror and say, look at it and say, look, if God's so powerful, how come you're in Galos? And we answer them because we're in Galos, because we did not act like we should. And the Menorah is telling us not only the miracles that happened then, but the miracles that happen now. And that's up to us to study Torah and do the laws of the Torah, and God all of a sudden will wake up, we won't be sleeping anymore. And will do miracles for us, and we'll be back into the land that we want. So this is what the great idea, the menorah that we have to look at it in a mature way and think about not only the way we looked at it when we were kids, but now we're mature people and the higher level of thinking. What the menorah represents. It represents the highest goals of the Jewish people, what we have to affirm ourselves to accomplish and to do. That's what we have to think about. How come we didn't light the menorah here? Let's see the candles. Maybe we should like it, no? And one of the kids can get a bracha? One of the kids?
We need a...
You can put them maybe on the table over here.
Put it on the table. We need a light. Anybody have a light? Match? Lighter?
Nobody smokes. Fantastic.
Amos, where are you? We'll put his lighter to good use.
You won't tell anybody. Do one of the kids want to come and say the bracha on the menorah? You know the brachas on the menorah? You know the bracha?
Any kids? You want to light? You want to know the bracha? Should we help you? Let's go. Come on up. mic.
Ba-
Hold on to the mic. Hold on to the candle. Let's go. You just
Baruch.
Baruch Atah Adonai
not yet. Hello.
Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvah
Sa.
sav v'tzivanu v'chechlanu shel Chanukah.
Baruch.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa nisim l'avoseinu bayamim ha'em b'zman hazeh.
Amen. Hanei reis halolu, anachnu madlikin, al hanisim ve'al haniflois, al hatashuvos ve'al hamilchamos, she'osis alav saying, good job. Vayim members manase, al yedei kayanecha, hakedayishim, v'chol shamayim nasimei Chanukah, mei Chanukah, hanei reis halolu, Reis halolu kodesh ve'ein lanu sh'tishtamesh bohem elo lireisam bilvad kedei lahoides hahelo shemecha hagodol al nisecha ve'al yeshuasecha ve'al nifloyasecha mois tor yeshuasi l'chana ve'lishabeyach Tikain beis tefilasi v'sham toida nizabeyach
Leis nachin matbeyach Mitzor amanabeyach Chozeg mor b'shir mizmor Chanukah samizbeyach Chozeg mor b'shir mizmor Chanukah samizbeyach
Roi sova nafshi b'yagay kayfichi lo Kai Menorah Vashi B'Shebot Malchus Egla Uyadai Hagdaila Haitzi Es Haskula Chel Paroi
v'chol
Zarai Yoduk Yeven B'Mtsula Chel Paroi V'chol Zarai Yoduk Yeven B'Mtsula Devir Kadshai Hevi Yani V'gam Sham Shokadeti Uvon Loi Geis V'Hiklani Kizarim Avadeti V'yein Ral Masachti Kimat She'avarti Kates Bavel Zerubbabel Lekate Shivim Noishati Kates Bavel Zerubbabel Lekate Shivim Noishati Kareiskei Masmeroish Bikesh Agogi Ben Hamdasa Niyasa Loi Lefach Mokesh Begavaso Nishbahasa Roshimini Niseisa Vayesh Machisa Raibanav V'Kinyanav Alo Eitzalisa Raibanav V'Kinyanav Alo Eitzalisa Yevanim Nikbitzu Olai Azai Mechashmanim Ufartzu Chamais Migdolai V'Timbo Kol Hashmanim
Uminazaganganim Nasa Neis Lashoshanim
B'nei Vina Yemesh Maina Kavu Shirananim B'nei Vina Yemesh Maina Kavu Shirananim Chasayt Zeraya Kodshecha V'karev Keis HaYeshua Seiv Man Shemecha Liyais Lanu Teshuva Ki Arka Lanu HaYeshua V'yen Keis Livnei HaRavam D'chei
Admain B'tzel Tzalmain Okay, Menorah Shiva D'chei Admain B'tzel Tzalmain Okay, Menorah Shiva.
Okay, Father, we see the lights. We think of the light of Torah, the light of Torah, Torah Oorah.
Okay. Any questions in the room? Come on, folks, big crowd. Okay, Ruth, you're on. Where's Tuvia anyway?
I'll tell him that you'll miss him.
Tell him that we went online and asked him.
Okay. So every year when we light the Hanukkah menorah, we're not allowed to use the lights for anything because it's a very spiritual light. But we light Shabbos candles every Friday night too, and that's also a spiritual light. Yet we can use it. I mean, we have electricity now, but we don't need it. But we could use it if we needed it as light. I was just curious, what's the difference with the two spiritual lights? And also in the Shabbos candles, when you light, it's a favorable time for prayer. When we light the menorah, is it also a favorable time for prayer?
Okay, double-header question here. The Chanukah lights can't be used for anything. We said, that we can't use them for any purpose, other than we can only watch them. And we can only watch them. So how about Shabbos candles?
That's why you light the Shabbos, right?
Well, he's saying that Chanukah candles are spiritual lights, and Shabbos candles are spiritual lights. But we can use the Shabbos candles. We're maybe even supposed to use the Shabbos candles, but we don't, and we're not allowed to use the Chanukah candles. What's the difference? And also, it's a propitious time to pray when one kindles the Shabbos candles. Is it a propitious time to pray when one lights the Chanukah menorah as well?
Okay, great question. The answer is that the reason for lighting the Chanukah candles is totally different from the reason for lighting Shabbos candles. Chanukah candles are for us to look at them and remember the miracles, remember the Torah, the light of Torah, and therefore we don't want to use it for anything else because we want to concentrate on the miracles and the Torah and all it represents. We could talk about a whole night what it represents, but basically speaking, Shabbos candles were originated by the rabbis in order to have light in the house Shabbos. It shouldn't be dark. People living in a dark house can't really enjoy the evening Shabbos because they can't see where they are. They can trip on this, trip on that, and they can't see what they're doing. So they made a special law to light Shabbos candles in order to enjoy and to use those lights, in order not to have a dark house on Shabbos, which would not be earning Shabbos, not in the spirit of Shabbos, it would sit in the dark. So therefore the whole reason for that was in order to enjoy Shabbos the way it should be. So it's spiritual also, because we want Shabbos to be celebrated in the best way possible. There should be light in the house. So therefore, the whole total different reason for the two lights that we have. As far as praying is concerned, definitely there is a to'elas and the benefit for a person to pray by the Chanukah light, just like the Shabbos lights. As a matter of fact, the rabbis tell us that somebody who's careful with Shabbos candles and Chanukah candles, he'll have children that are Torah scholars. Again, because the lights represent the light of Torah, and therefore a person who's careful to light Chanukah candles like he should at the right time and the right Erev Shabbos and on Shabbos, after Shabbos, and all the laws pertaining to Chanukah lights, if he's careful, he will have the schus to have children that are Torah scholars, and therefore many people say many prayers in front of the Chanukah candles, no question about it. So it's certainly a very mesugel and very appropriate time to pray to Hashem when those candles are burning. Right now, anybody has good prayers, some prayers, it'll be very appropriate to pray now, and whatever, if someone's looking for a shidduch, or looking for shalom bayis, or shalom for children, or whatever they need, parnasa, whatever, it would be very appropriate to pray in front of Shabbos candles. Pray to Hashem, not to the candles. Pray to Hashem, in the merit of the.
Okay, we have an online question.
Last night we were giving out at the concert. They gave out dollar. What do you call them? Metal dollars. What do you call them? Metal the dollars. Dollar coins. Somebody came up to me and said, "All the blessings are in this coin over here, right? I have this coin. I have all the blessings." I said, "No. God gives the blessing, not the coin. The coin doesn't give the blessing. So take the coin and buy a soda with it. It doesn't give blessings. God gives blessings." But people had tendency to use more things that you could touch to be able to misachis and connect to it. But we have to connect to God. Okay.
Well, they say a guy came to a Kabbalist once. He was collecting money, and he asked him for money. So the guy gave him $1. He said, "This is a blessed dollar." He said, "You know what, Rabbi? Do you have a cursed 100 instead?" Anyway, I have an online question from Lior Adri. It's a little technical, so we'll try to explain.
From who?
Lior Adri. I don't know who it is.
Lior, that's a good name.
They said
for
they're watching.
Chanukah. Lior.
Yeah, it's a Chanukah name.
Yeah.
Anyway.
To me is light. Lior, to me is light.
So the question is as follows. The Torah tells us that when Moshe came before Pharaoh, the first time he was 80 years old, when he gave him his ultimatum about letting out the Jews. Now, according to the Medrash, there was a year of the plagues took an entire year, and Sfardeya began, according to one Medrash, the plague of grasshoppers happened in the month of Adar. So Moshe would have been 80 before that. He would have turned 81. And then if the Jews were in the desert for 40 years, he should have been 121 when he died, not 100. So they're trying to figure out the math here. I'm not sure that... well, that's her question. Her question is he was 120 when he passed away. According to this Medrash, how does that work?
Well, I didn't figure out, follow exactly what you said, but the years, the Torah counts people's age is not according to their birthday. It's according to the year that they were born. And that whole year is considered the year of their age. And therefore, you can go a whole year, it might, according to our way of thinking, his birthday made him a year older, but since it's not the end of that year yet, as far as Torah is concerned, whether it's till Nisan or till Tishrei, different. So therefore, I would imagine that that's what we're talking about over here. So maybe according to the birthday, I mean, I have to figure out. I'm just saying there's a possibility that according to his birthday it might be more than 120, but according to the years of the Torah, like Rashi brings it in the Chumash like that we don't go according to the birthdays.
Okay, we frequently get questions from Angela's children through Angela, but tonight we're going to get it straight because she has her kids here. So we'll get the straight dope. Come on. Somebody. Come on, birthday girl.
Okay.
Did a great job doing
We found how old she is. How old is she?
13.
She's young enough to say her age. Well, how old?
13.
How old are you?
13.
13. Oh, you're Bar Mitzvah. Okay.
If you're not allowed to eat from like insects aren't kosher and everything.
What's not kosher?
Insects, like bugs.
Insects. Okay.
If like bugs aren't kosher, how come honey's kosher? If it comes from a bee.
The question is, the insects aren't kosher, things that come from non-kosher things aren't kosher. So how come we're allowed to eat honey that comes from bees?
Well, the Gemara talks about it, as a matter of fact. This is a question in the Gemara. The Gemara discusses this question. And the simple answer is because the bee just carries it in its body. It sucks out the nectar from the flower, carries it in its body, and it gives it out afterwards into the beehive. So it's not considered part of the bee itself. The Gemara talks about sometimes particles of the bee itself fall into the honey, but since we don't see it, it disintegrates, so it's not considered part of the bee. But the honey itself is not considered part of the bee. It's the nectar from the flower, just carrying it in its sac, but then when it gives it out, it's not considered, wasn't part of the bee. It takes it in and gives it out. So it wasn't created with that.
Okay, which leads us, the birthday issue leads us to a perfect online question, and that is, what is the significance of a bar mitzvah, since one is a Jew both before and after he becomes bar mitzvah? Why is a bat mitzvah any less a celebration than a bar mitzvah? And why is a bat mitzvah at 12 and a bar mitzvah at 13?
Well, we'll take the last question first. Bas mitzvah 12, because we know that girls develop more faster than boys. And their development and their understanding and I'm talking not physically, maybe that also, but as far as their development of their mind is concerned, girls develop faster than boys. That's a known thing. Even all the doctors know that, all the people that have to do with health matters. So that's why girls are bar mitzvah before a boy. Now, what's the difference between before bar mitzvah and after bar mitzvah? Well, that's the same reason, because a boy or a girl before the bar mitzvah are not obligated to do the mitzvahs because their mind is not fully developed. You can't expect them to. They have certain shyness and certain temptations for them, and them to control themselves. They're not old enough to control themselves yet. They have to have a certain maturity level for them to control, to do what's right, not do what's wrong. So the Torah gave them that time limit for them to get to the maturity level, what they are now capable of controlling themselves and realizing what's right, what's wrong. Why is a bigger party by boys and girls in the Orthodox community, and that is a simple reason because girls are more Chanukah, they're more modest in their whole life and the whole being. They're more are modest, that they have to be more modest than men because they are considered they have beauty and they look nice, and therefore they have the mitzvah of being modest and not showing themselves, covering themselves. So this is the essence of a girl and a woman, is their modesty, that they don't show themselves off to others. So therefore, the same way in other ways, that they more behind the scenes people. They're not the in front center, don't take front center stage in their life to show themselves either physically or in any other way. They sort of behind the scenes. That's their type, the way of life. And I could expand on that even more, but for now,
Okay, questions in the room? Questions? Rabbi Mintz, Jr. All the way from Lakewood, New Jersey.
It's tempting to take over Rabbi Reichman and do some of the wife questions, but my wife's on the other side of the room, so I'm afraid to do those. We'll skip it for this week. But the question you're talking about fire, and this is a question about Gehenna, hell. What does it help to burn somebody in hell, whatever it burns? I guess it's not the body, because the body's in the ground. It's not getting burnt. It's the neshama or something else that's getting burnt. But what does it help fire? What does it make something better? What is it? Why don't you bang it on the head? Why don't you stretch it? Why don't you torture it? What does fire do? What does fire do? How does that purify a soul in hell? How does that work? And is it spiritual fire? Is it physical fire? Is it a different plane of fire? How does that work?
well, it's. Oh, you want to?
I think that question was very clear. He wants to know what the fires of hell are and what they do to the soul, why it's specifically fire that is used, and that's the punishment for the soul.
How does it purify the soul?
And how does it purify the soul? And is it a physical fire or a spiritual fire?
Yes. Well, it's very appropriate for Chanukah that we spoke about tonight. The fire in Gehenna, like we call Gehenna, is definitely not a fire that we have in this world. It's a spiritual fire. It's really fire of the Torah. The fire of the Torah, a person in this world who sinned, and that means he didn't recognize God, didn't recognize the greatness of the Torah. So in the future, people who sinned a lot, they will be burned. That means that they will come to such a recognition of what they did wrong, because God will open up to them their eyes and their mind to realize what the truth is. And they'll be so embarrassed and so feel so bad what they did. That's the fire of Gehenna. The fire of Gehenna is the kedusha of the Torah that will be upon them, because they didn't have the holiness of the Torah when they were alive in this world, and therefore the Torah will be very, very painful for them. When they'll see the truth of the Torah and how they did not act according to that, the pain will be very great, embarrassment and pain. That's how, and by doing that, eventually the Torah will have an effect on them and bring them up to a higher level when they come to that realization of what they should have had in this world, and that world will purify them, but they'll have to be pained by a lot of times. Of course, some young people here, well, yeah, older people too, have sometimes children that were very disobedient and very mean to their parents, and they grow up and they realize what they did. They're so embarrassed. They feel so bad every time they see their parents. And every time they think about it, they're so upset. They're I was such a brat, such a rascal, and such a chutzpah. What's my parents? I disrespected them. And they feel very, very upset once they come to realization of what's right and what's wrong, and they realize that all the pain that their parents suffered because of them. So that, multiply that by 100 times, the person will realize when he went against his Creator, against God, the pain and the suffering will be very great. That itself. That's the fire we're talking about of Gehenna. The holiness of the Torah is considered like fire. Like we said, the fire for a few reasons. It's warm and it's light. It will shine through them, and they'll just be so upset that how they acted in this world.
Okay, question from Yisrael Schwartz, Delhi, New York. Hello, Yisrael.
So,
How do you know when you've done enough in a proper activity? A person's trying to do something proper, and they keep on trying and it's not working. So, when do they know to just give up and say, God doesn't want me to do that? God really doesn't want me to do this?
well, really, it's a hard question to answer because there's no one answer to that question. Chazal tell us that when it comes to prayer, you should never give up, unless God tells us to. He told Moshe Rabbeinu to stop praying. But otherwise, Chazal tells a person davens once and he's not answered, daven again. Kal Hashem, Hashem, strengthen yourself and daven again. Every time, you never know when the final prayer is going to break through. And I heard from a great rabbi who brought out this point. Moshe Rabbeinu went to heaven to pray for the Jews after they made the golden calf. He went to pray to God they should forgive them. And he stayed there for 40 days and nights praying. So this great rabbi said, and imagine that. He prayed a day, 2 days, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 33 days, 35 days, 36 days. He prayed and they prayed. He could have given up. That's it. 40th day, Hashem listened to him. So praying, you never stop praying because you never know when that's going to break through. At one point, God told Moses, don't pray anymore because it's not going to help. So he told him, but we don't have such a words from God to stop praying unless whatever. So other things, other missions that people might take upon themselves and they feel it's not working, they should really have to consult a scholarly person who's a scholar in Torah to ask him a question. Should I pursue this adventure that I've started, or should I give it up and do something else? But it really depends on the circumstances to say whether to continue or not to continue. Sometimes a person doesn't realize how much he's accomplishing. Sometimes he wants to accomplish more than he has to accomplish. So there are a lot of different details in this question. You'd have to consult a very person who's knowledgeable.
We have an online question, and that is there a place that someone should not go on a date because of problems of yichud, of being secluded with a person of the opposite gender, or are there other inappropriate places to go on dates?
Maybe you could elaborate on that, what yichud is?
Yichud is when a boy and a girl, or a man and a woman, are secluded, and unless they're married, we are forbidden to seclude ourselves with a member of the opposite gender, halachically. And the question is there a place that a person should not go, or let's broaden the question and say, are there other places that are inappropriate to go for similar reasons?
Well, I discussed this with Moshe Feinstein, the great placing of the door, and the answer is that you have to, if you're in a place where the people are around, people can walk in any time, so that's permitted. If you go in the car together at nighttime, if you go on a very lonely road that nobody ever goes, then you're not allowed to go, a boy and a girl on a date over there, because it's secluded too much. But on the road, let's say, on a highway or a road that people come by, so if you happen to park your car, somebody might park and say, what's going on, and you need help, whatever. So if it's in a circumstances where you feel that there's people around and you're not by yourself, then it's permitted. But if you feel that there's nobody's around, so then you're not allowed to do it. If you have a question on the elevator, you go in the elevator, there's only a woman, you and a woman are there. When a man, are you allowed to go in the elevator by yourself? The answer is yes, because the elevator's going to stop soon, and somebody can walk on the elevator, so you don't feel you're not by yourself.
Tell you all of them have cameras anyway.
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah. So that's the general rule that if it's a place where you don't expect anybody to come in, you're not allowed to be by yourselves. But if somebody might come any time, then it's permitted.
Okay, Michael, question.
Why is it that a woman can't drink the wine that we use for Abdullah? And also, the person making Abdullah, if he drinks less than half the cup, does he meet his obligation for Abdullah?
Okay, the question is, how much wine does one have to drink to fulfill his obligation of drinking wine for Havdalah? And the second question is, which was actually his first question, is why don't women drink the wine from Havdalah? Or as the old wives' tale goes, they'll grow a beard if they drink the wine from Havdalah.
Well, it's hard to. What was the second part? How much to drink? Oh, for Havdalah, any like Kiddush, a big gulp. Just take a big gulp. One big gulp. No, one gulp. Yeah. Whether it's Kiddush or Havdalah, the same thing. Let's say a woman's making Havdalah by herself, nobody to be moitzi her. So Rav Moshe told me that she should take a sip of the wine, and she shouldn't take a big gulp. She should sip a little bit, since women don't drink Havdalah. I never heard a reason why not, but it has to do with the chait of Chava having to do with the chait of Adam Arishan, that she, the question is what type of fruit was involved with that. And it has to do with the wine of, so therefore she doesn't drink it. Exactly how that comes out, if I'm Moshe couldn't tell me, I don't even tell me.
We should point out, according to the Jewish tradition, it was not an apple for sure.
Yeah.
It was definitely not an apple.
Yeah. It has to do with that chait of Adam Arishan. Just like they don't have Kav Shlevana and so on.
Right.
It has to do with the fact that she gave him the forbidden, they call it fruit, forbidden, whatever it was. And it has to do with that wine that we make Havdalah on.
Okay. Do you have any questions in the room? A last question, or should we go online? Oh, we got an online in the room question.
Hi. Last week, someone asked a question about an intellectually disabled child. Who are they testing, the parent or the child? My question is, you had mentioned that the person came back to resolve an issue. Does that mean we believe in reincarnation?
Yes, definitely. Oh,
The
yeah.
question was, do we believe in reincarnation? Based on last week's discussion about souls coming back in different forms. Do Jews believe in reincarnation?
Yes, we do. The Kabbalists talk about it a lot. There are forms written on it. And Sefer HaGilgulim, one of the forms called the Sefer of Incarnation, Reincarnation, written by the Talmud of the Arizal. So we definitely believe in that there's such a thing, definitely. Yes.
Okay. That's it, or should we go for a quick online question?
Yeah, might as well.
Okay, we'll go for a quick online question.
Hanukkah.
What?
Not of Chanukah.
In honor of Hanukkah. Okay. It's a holiday
Torah,
question.
one-
It's a sort of holiday question. There are certain times a year, festival times, Shabbos, when we're supposed to be happy. If I'm going through a rough time, how can I make myself be happy just because it's a holiday or because it's Shabbos?
Well, that's not only a question of intellect, but it's a question of feelings. And it's very difficult for a person to control their feelings. But we know many great people, and some people not so great, were able to control their feelings. And on Shabbos, let's say, a person finds out that something terrible happened. And how could they feel good about on Shabbos if they know something terrible happened? And a person who's really heart and soul into Shabbos, let's say, knows what Shabbos is all about, and he knows that Shabbos is because God created the world, He runs the world, He makes everything happen in the world. So a person takes comfort in the fact that God knows what He's doing. This thing that happened, which is not what he'd like it to be, but it's something God's will. So he's very happy because that's God's will. And so he knows that God knows what He's doing, and he's ready to accept. Just like a young child, doesn't realize why his parents do certain things, they're very upset about it. When he grows up, he looks back and, oh boy, I'm happy they did it. I didn't realize then. So when it comes to man and God, instead of going through that time zone that we're talking about, right away, they're mature adults, a mature person, and they realize right away that's for their benefit. So therefore, if God wants it, I want it. So therefore, I experienced once, a neighbor of mine lost a grandchild. So I went to him, because it doesn't say Shiva, it's a grandchild, not a child. And I said to him, I came to Mishtatev, to
Empathize.
empathize and to become to feel your pain together with you. Some you feel pain with somebody else, so you comfort them. So I came to feel your pain together with you. He said to me, I don't feel any pain. I have worked on myself that whatever God does for me, to me, whatever, I accept without any questions. And therefore, I don't feel, I was very taken aback. Oh, wow, this was something. But I don't feel any pain. I don't feel it. God wants it. I accept it for what God wants. So a person maybe after Shabbos can't hold back like that. But Shabbos itself, to think of how great Shabbos is and how close Hashem is to the Jewish people, and what a wonderful day it is, and so on. So it's possible a person to work on himself to come to such a. It's not easy. It takes time and work.
Okay, I just realized, I know that was supposed to be the last question, but we got a DU camper. Erica Katayev had a question that I forgot to ask, and that is, when a person is starting to become religious, what is the first thing what's the first mitzvah, what's the first area they should start focusing on?
TorahMates.